You just blew another funded account challenge. And right now, you're probably sitting there questioning everything. Maybe you're thinking about giving up on trading altogether. Trust me, I've been exactly where you are right now, staring at that red screen, feeling like a complete failure. But blowing a funded account doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It doesn't mean you should quit. What it means is that you've just received some of the most expensive education you can get in this business. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact 3-step system I use to bounce back from blown accounts stronger than ever. And I'm going to tell you about a psychological trick that a hedge fund manager who made $10 million in 1 month taught me, something that completely changed how I approach drawdowns and losing periods. But first, let me ask you this. What if I told you that the difference between traders who consistently blow accounts and those who become profitable isn't talent, isn't luck, and isn't even strategy? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what separates the winners from the losers in this game. Most traders think they blow accounts because of bad strategy or bad luck. But here's the truth that most people won't tell you. You're blowing accounts because you're fighting the wrong battle. I used to think the same way. I'd blow an account, immediately blame the strategy, switch to something else, and repeat the cycle. See, the real issue isn't your entry or exit points. It's not even your risk management, though that's important. The real issue is that you're treating each trade like it's make or break, instead of understanding that trading is purely a numbers game. Let me break this down for you. If you've done your backtesting properly, and I mean really done it, not just looked at a few charts and called it good, you should know your win rate, your average winner, and your average loser. You should know that over a series of trades, your edge will play out. But here's where most people mess up. They know this in theory, but emotionally, they're still treating each individual trade like their entire career depends on it. That's when the revenge trading starts. That's when you start doubling down on losers. That's when you start taking trades that aren't part of your plan just because you need to get back to break even. I used to do this all the time. I'd have a perfectly good strategy that I'd backtested for months, but the moment I hit 3 losses in a row, I'd start to wonder. I'd start taking trades outside my rules because I was desperate to get that money back immediately. The breakthrough came when I realized that if my strategy truly had an edge, then losing streaks were just part of the process. If I know that over 100 trades I'll be profitable, then what does it matter if I lose the first 10? The math doesn't change. But here's something even more important than understanding the numbers game, and it's something that completely transformed how I handle drawdowns. This is where most traders get it completely wrong. And honestly, this is the part that's going to save your trading career if you really absorb it. I was deep in a trading subreddit a couple of years ago, and I ended up reading about this guy who ran a hedge fund. Successful guy, made serious money. And I learned something that at first sounded absolutely crazy. He said that anytime he had a winning period or a losing period, he forced himself to take 3 weeks off. Complete break. No charts, no analysis, nothing. I thought he was nuts. I mean, this guy had just made $12 million that month, and he was taking 3 weeks off? It seemed like the exact opposite of what you should do when things are going well. But then he explained the psychology behind it, and it completely changed how I approach trading. See, whether you're winning or losing, your emotional state gets compromised. When you're losing, your confidence tanks. You become hesitant, you second-guess everything, and you start making decisions from a place of fear. But when you're winning, that's almost worse. You become overconfident, you start thinking you can do no wrong, and you begin taking trades you have no business taking. Both states are toxic to your trading performance. The 3-week break serves as a complete reset. It gives you time to get back to baseline, to approach the markets with no emotional baggage from your recent performance. When you come back, you're not the trader who just lost 5 trades in a row, and you're not the trader who just made a killing last week. You're just a trader with a plan. Now, I know what you're thinking. 3 weeks sounds like forever, especially when you're eager to get back in there and prove yourself. But here's the thing, and this ties directly into what I mentioned earlier about the numbers game. If your strategy truly has an edge, then 3 weeks isn't going to change that. The edge will still be there when you get back. What those 3 weeks will do is clear out all the mental fog, all the emotional residue from your recent performance. You'll come back fresh, focused, and ready to execute your plan without all the psychological noise that was sabotaging you before. But here's some advice from one of the best prop traders on YouTube.
Edge, you understand everything about your trading strategy as a whole, then the point is you don't need to really do anything else. You just need to understand and consider, okay, for me, I know that I've got a 1 to 2. I know that in 5 trades, I'll be break even. After a 10 losing streak, 5 trades, I keep dropping the risk. I do all of these things that I understand that I'd have to lose 40 times in a row before I blow the account. So if you can just see the light, see the picture, and make sure that you are focused and understanding that in the long run, it will pay out. out, you will have the confidence, you will have the power and the vision to get yourself out of these moments and times. Because really and truly, if you do the work properly, it is very difficult to constantly blow and blow and blow.
But there's another crucial element to this reset process that most people completely overlook, and it has everything to do with how you approach your comeback. Here's where we separate the amateurs from the professionals. Most people approach their comeback with the exact same mindset that got them into trouble in the first place. They're still thinking about individual trades, still trying to make back what they lost. But professional traders approach it completely differently. They focus on identifying and systematically eliminating the specific behaviors that led to the blow-up in the first place. First, you need to be brutally honest with yourself about what actually happened. And I mean really honest, not the sugar-coated version where you blame the market or bad luck. Were you over-trading? Were you revenge trading? Were you taking trades outside your plan? Were you risking too much per trade? You need to identify the exact behavior that led to the account blow-up. Once you've identified the problem, you need to create specific, measurable rules to prevent it from happening again. This isn't about willpower or promising yourself you'll be better. This is about creating systems that make it impossible for you to repeat the same mistakes. For example, if overtrading was the issue, you set a maximum number of trades per day or per week. Let's say 5 trades maximum per week. Once you hit 5, you're done, regardless of what opportunities you think you see. But here's the key, you don't stop there. If you find that even with the 5 trade limit, you're still making impulsive decisions, you add another layer. Maybe you can only trade for 2 hours per day. Now you have 2 constraints working together. If after that you're still having issues, add a third layer. Maybe you only trade 1 currency pair. This reduces the noise, reduces the number of setups you're looking at, and forces you to become an absolute expert on that one pair. You see how this works? Each refinement makes it harder and harder for you to sabotage yourself. You're building a system that protects you from your own worst impulses. This systematic approach is what separates traders who bounce back stronger from those who keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. But there's one more element to this comeback strategy that could make or break your success, and it's something most people don't even think about. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Not all prop firms are created equal, especially when you're coming back from a blow-up. Some firms have rules that are designed to trip you up. Others have inconsistent payouts or change their terms without notice. When you're already dealing with the psychological pressure of a comeback, the last thing you need is to be fighting the firm itself. After going through multiple firms and seeing the differences firsthand, I can tell you that FTMO consistently provides the most straightforward, trader-friendly environment. Their rules are clear, their payouts are consistent, and they don't play games with their traders. When you're rebuilding your confidence after a blow-up, you need every advantage you can get. Working with a firm that has your back rather than one that's looking for reasons to fail you can make all the difference in your comeback story. But here's a bit more about FTMO.
So FTMO is an online prop firm. They started in 2015, so about 9 years ago. They're probably one of the leading prop firms right now. They have great trading conditions, 24-hour customer support, but most importantly, if you follow their rules, they do pay out their traders. So in order to access this account, you're required to pass a challenge that tests your trading skills. You have a 10K account, 25K account, 50K, 100K, and 200K. So usually there's 2 phases for the challenge. You have a phase 1 and a phase 2. So in the first phase of the challenge, you need to achieve a 10% profit. So let's say you went for a 100K account. What this means is you need to achieve $10,000 in profit in order to pass. So just an FYI, a lot of people fail the challenge because they hit the 5% max daily loss. I've certainly done it before, so it's one of those things that you really need to be careful of. I recommend taking the time to read through all of this on the FTMO website. And if you have any questions, definitely use the live chat because the live chat is really good and it's 24/7. So once you pass the phase 1, you will receive an account for the phase 2 of the challenge. And in the phase 2, you still have the 10% maximum loss and 5% max daily loss, but there's a 5% profit target. So you need to make $5,000 to pass phase 2, which is much easier than phase 1. So there's unlimited trading days, so you can take as long as you want for the challenge. So the great thing about FTMO is when you pass and you get your first payout, your challenge fee is actually refunded with the first payout. When you pass a challenge, which I'm sure eventually you'll do, and you get a live funded account, there's no profit target, but there is still the 10% max loss and 5% daily loss.
Head to the link in the pinned comment to start with one of their 100K accounts. Now let me tie all of this together with the most important concept in trading. Thinking long-term. If you've done your homework, If you've backtested your strategy properly and you know you have a genuine edge, then individual losses are just noise. They're part of the process, not the end of the story. I know traders who have to lose 40 trades in a row before they blow their account. Think about that for a second. The probability of losing 40 trades in a row with a decent strategy is so small, it's essentially impossible. But here's what happens to most traders. They lose 3 or 4 in a row and they panic. They start questioning their strategy, changing their approach, or worse, they start revenge trading to try to get back to break even immediately. This is where the long-term perspective comes into play. If you know that over 100 trades you'll be profitable, then what does it matter if you start with 5 losses? The math doesn't change. Your edge doesn't disappear because of a few bad trades. So here's your action plan. First, take that break. I don't care how eager you are to get back in there. Take at least a week, preferably 2 or 3. Use that time to honestly analyze what went wrong and create specific rules to prevent it from happening again. Second, when you come back, start small. Your ego might want to jump right back in with full size, but your account balance and your psychological well-being will thank you for starting conservatively. Third, focus on execution, not results. Judge yourself on whether you followed your rules, not on whether individual trades were winners or losers. And finally, remember that this is a long-term game. The traders who succeed aren't the ones who never have losing streaks. They're the ones who handle losing streaks professionally and stick to their plan. Blowing a funded account isn't fun. I've been there 3 times, and it's one of the most frustrating experiences in trading. But it doesn't have to be the end of your story. Some of the most successful traders I know have blown multiple accounts before finding their groove. The difference is that they learned from each failure, refined their approach, and came back stronger. They understood that trading is a skill that takes time to develop, and setbacks are just part of the learning process. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-world trading advice. Don't forget to grab one of FTMO's funded accounts down below and watch this video next.